Hello everyone, this is Konkyra speaking. Today is the 25th June 2026. On 29th March, I have presented to you my favorite comic, Hothead Paisan, Homicidal Lesbian Terrorist, a series that came originally out in the 1990s and that has been published finally in a big book. And that was a very long video, and unfortunately I've also made the mistake of setting my phone in a way that somehow the window in which you can actually see the video is quite small, and that is why uh, nobody has ever seen it to the end, because it's 77 minutes long. But this one is a very tough one today, because I have decided to create a spin-off to show you my most favorite scene of the entire comic. And again, if you want to see the original video that I have created, it's in the video description. I mean, the link is in the video description. Without introducing Hothead Paisan now, um, I will now show you what I want to talk about. And yes, this topic is actually about suicide, so please take caution. But this is only my personal opinion and what I have been going through late in 2025. In late 2025, you see, Hothead Paisan, the main character, this one here on the left. This is her cat Chicken. um, you know, she was suddenly having some thoughts about how evil the world is, how evil men rule the world, and stuff like that, and want to destroy all kinds of people that do not fit to their agenda and all. Again, I'm not going into detail. I just want to show you my favorite scene of the comic that really got me big time. So the author, and also the one who drew all those pictures, Diane Dimasa, I think she was really doing a big thing here, and uh, it's really nothing easy what I'm going to talk about now. So, um, you know, Hothead Paisan, again the main character, she cannot stand it anymore. She cannot stand anything anymore. She cannot stand the world that she doesn't understand and that she always reacts to with extreme violence. You can say that. And then she suddenly is in a phase where she talks to God, and she says or thinks, "Hey God, do I get extra credit for not committing suicide?" You know, and that is actually what really got me. And this is what also got me, right? Then, by the way, I'm on page 347. If you have the same book, it's in 347. And every day I convince myself with some rhetoric by me, for me, that life is worth living, that I'm somehow powerful. But it's bullshit. My existence is a crapshoot. Maybe I oughta just commit suicide. It's better than them getting me. Again, this is my favorite page of the entire comic series inside this big book that was issued in early September last year, in 2025. And it also continues, of course. Um, you know, Hothead Paisan thinks that, I don't stand a chance against these guys. Who am I kidding? She just feels totally helpless, and yeah, she is just filled with thoughts. They're not even goddamn people. These bastards have no hearts. I've had enough. I'm 5,000 years old. I'm tired now. It's just getting worse. I used to think I could win, but I can't. Only they win. The rest of us die. And then she's just overwhelmed, getting a page along, and then Hothead Paisan just really has enough. And then she says, "I have a really bad headache, and I wonder if I jump off a building and smash my head into it all the way down. Will it feel better?" Yeah. And then she actually goes to a tall building, maybe a skyscraper if it seems. I'm just illegible graffiti on the wall of life. Ah, there's a tall one, tall building. I'm my own worst enemy. My mind is a hamster wheel. But then suddenly, while Hothead Paisan is on the way to this building to jump from the rooftop and commit suicide, she meets her friend Ross. And Ross says, "Hey, Morn of Ark." That fits, I guess. Uh, and this also got me very much, because then she says, "Got a minute for an old friend before you go? You remember me, don't you? We used to play a little game together. It was called Trust. I was so honored because you only played it with me. It's what made it worth your constant chaos. You're difficult, and I never got really angry at you. But I'm angry at you now. Here you are, fixing to just go like that. And you didn't even think of me once. I thought I was a big deal in your life. You showed me. You take my heart with you and you leave your pain in its place. That's not fair, Hothead. That's not what I deserve." Well, yeah. Then the story continues actually with Hothead Paisan's talking lamp, and Hothead Paisan is then very very devastated, because Ross is really her best friend, and now it seems that she even lost her best friend. And well, and the story then continues that Hothead Paisan suddenly finds herself in a bucket, and then she cries, and then this talking lamp is taking her out, and then she is being thrown into a bed, and then there are her cat Chicken, her friend Ross, and her girlfriend Daphne. Yeah, I guess Daphne is, Daphne appeared in the later issues, and it was quite a story. So yeah, she turned out to be Hothead Paisan's girlfriend, at least for maybe a short time, you can say that. Uh, but what I really want to talk with you about, I have bought this comic also in early September 2025. Actually, I have pre-ordered it, and then it finally came out after it has been delayed numerous times. And guess what? In August 2025, and this is what I want to tell you, and again, it's tough, maybe for you, maybe it's not. I don't know. Uh, I was actually planning back then that I just wanted to read this comic, and I felt very down myself, and I actually planned to commit suicide on 21st November 2025. And so when I was reading this comic for the first time, I was also reading this with the thought in my back that soon I'm dead. And so this scene really got me, you know, because I wasn't expecting that Diane Di Massa would suddenly come up with the topic of suicide, because this comic is quite crazy, you can say that. It's pure anarchy, and it has, of course, many 90s references because it was created in the 90s. But Diane Di Massa went through a hard time herself, because she was coming off an alcohol addiction. She was in rehab and all, and she used Hothead Paisan, of course, to cope with this tough time. And it took her many years. Uh, at the end of this issue, there's a large interview or long interview where she says that when she was in her late 30s, she stopped drawing Hothead Paisan because she had so many changes, and Hothead Paisan was getting a little deeper, and it was not really the Hothead Paisan that she wanted to create anymore, because she had so many personal changes, within her own life after those years of absence of alcohol and all. And but yeah, this scene really got me, because I wanted to commit suicide. And yes, I went to my personal place in Tiergarten where I wanted to commit suicide on 21st November. I've had a rope with me, believe it or not. It was about to happen in Tiergarten. That's a very 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 large park behind the Brandenburg Gate here in my hometown Berlin, Germany. and it's actually also the place where the Christopher Street Day will take place in a little more than 4 weeks now. And guess what? I will also be there for the first time in my life. But I'm far from being over with my thoughts, because I'm struggling with depressions since 2004. I do not care about psychologists or psychiatrists. I was with a psychologist once, and I have told her some stuff about me, but I didn't tell her everything. That was in late 2019, and she then made false assumptions and made a false diagnosis because I didn't told her everything, because I only told her 50% of something, for example, about the stuff that I've write about my Amazons and all. But I didn't tell her everything. And that is why she made a false diagnosis, you can say that. I don't want to get into detail. It's too personal, but then I have figured out that psychologists make the mistake that they believe everything that you say. And if you leave something out, maybe just by accident because you forget it, then then they make false diagnoses, and maybe they give you the wrong help. So I am not a fan of psychology, of the field of psychology since then. And psychiatrists only fill you up with dangerous drugs, those antidepressants that can make it only worse. And yeah, so I really went there on 21st November 2025 to my favorite spot in Tiergarten. If you know the Tiergarten, or if you browse around a bit in Google Maps, and if you maybe know my website and all, and what I write about, or you just take a look at some of my videos, you can guess where that spot actually is in Tiergarten. Um, and it will also be my safety point during the CSD, during the Christopher Street Day. If maybe the sounds and the colors and all is maybe getting too much for me, then I know where to retreat to, and it's very close actually to the street of 17th June. But yeah, this suicidal topic, was very tough for me back then, because again I was planning my suicide, and the only reason why I didn't do it on 21st November, which was Heinrich von Kleist's and Henriette Vogel's death day. Heinrich von Kleist is a famous German author, and he wrote the epic drama Penthesilea, and yet he couldn't stand it anymore. His life, and he decided to commit suicide together with a female friend of his who was terminally ill with uterus cancer. And so they killed themselves. And I was also at the grave in at the Little Wannsee, it's called, in the southwest of Berlin. And so I am I am often playing around with the topic of suicide. And again, that was on 21st November. And again, I wanted to do it. I was ready to do it. I went there, but guess what? I've had no chance, because on that day it was freezing cold, and this is not an excuse. There was really 0 degrees. There were 0 degrees on that day, and the earth, the ground, everything was so frozen and my hands were shaking so much that I couldn't do it. It was just too friggin' cold. And what also inspired me here, I was also trying to draw Hothead Paisan, to copy her a bit. I have no talent, but my best one, that I've also introduced in my long 77-minute video that is too long for you people to watch, I guess, because nobody watched it until the end, is that, this is this is a copy from this. Um, from where she asks, "Hey God, do I get extra credit for not committing suicide?" Because this is for me the most vital picture that Diandi Massa drew in the entire comic. And guess what? I consider this to be my best copy. Yes, I know my skills are still kindergarten-like, but I consider this one to be my best copy. And I drew this, I think it was in October, just a month before I wanted to commit suicide. Yeah, what else I can say? It's I actually just want to introduce to you my most important scene, and it was so vital for me back then because I planned to commit suicide, and actually I'm not over it yet. Um, in 2 days, on Saturday, I have my final Japanese class, but I still suck at learning Japanese. And on Tuesday we've had our final regular Japanese class. The class on Saturday is a hiragana katakana class, and I did suck big time when we had to do a few written tests just to check ourselves. And I've made plenty of mistakes, and I was so stupid. I also misread a hiragana, which I actually should know already. You know, and Well, since then I feel very down again. And I have told myself that, with the certificates that I receive, and you receive those anyway from evening schools, you just have to attend, actually. But of course, I try to learn as hard as possible, but somehow it seems I have no talent. And guess what? I have told myself that if I do not get the allowance from the Free University of Berlin to study there, if I do not get my spot at that university, actually, I think of maybe on 22nd August, I go back to that very place, and then it's hot enough, and then I will use a different method and not a rope. Perhaps, I'm not sure yet, but and I do not want to alarm you in any way with this video. It's just what I think, and I'm just very honest, even though I know I'm publishing this for millions of people to watch, even though just a handful of people normally watch my videos, and that's okay, but I just want to say it. I'm not over the hill. And looking at this scene of Hothead Paisan, the homicidal lesbian terrorist, it's given me a lot of thoughts, and it's just my favorite scene. And yeah, it's hard for me to speak actually. I know that my video is maybe boring again, because I'm always making very amateur, stylish videos that are not very fun to watch, especially not this one. But yeah, I also feel like Hothead Paisan actually. I mean, I'm a man and I'm heterosexual. I'm not Hothead Paisan, or I'm not like Hothead Paisan. I'm not an Amazon sister because I'm a man. Uh, but I just I don't know what to say. I just feel that the world is also always against me. I mean, maybe I should make another video about that, but if I just walk along the street and people are coming towards me and I just want to pass by, no matter who they are, if they male, female, if they are foreigners or if they are Germans, it doesn't matter. They do all um, they do all try to push me off the street somehow, so that I end up on the street where the cars are actually driving. I only have maybe 1 millimeter left of where I can go, and that sucks. And I do not know why the people hate me so and ignore me, and or maybe I'm invisible or something to them. I don't know, but somehow, people just don't like me. Just last week on Saturday's hiragana katakana class, we were expected to form groups of 2 people each to read some names of Japanese cities in hiragana together. And guess what? We were only 2 males, and the rest of the class is female. And everybody was having their partner, and one group of 3 females decided to group together, and so I was suddenly alone, and I had to read all those Japanese city names in hiragana myself, you know without anyone wanting to be my partner. And even my Japanese teacher was surprised about that. But this was unfortunately not my first experience like that. It was always like that, even when I was in school 20 years ago. It was also the same thing. It, it just somehow I'm just always alone. Sometimes somehow the people always make sure that I'm always alone and that they don't like me at all. And then of course I think about maybe I ought to just commit suicide. And yeah, this one again, I have read this to you already. I also believe that my existence is nothing worth, and I always, just like Hothead Paisan, I sometimes, when I do my stuff, when I write my Amazon stories, when I maybe create or generate with Gemini AI another Amazon metal song that I put in my YouTube playlist, for which I also write the prompts and the lyrics, so Gemini is just generating the final result. Then I think that I'm somehow good or maybe some powerful myself when I do something with my Amazons, but I have to realize nobody's really interested in that, and it's just my world, I guess, and nobody wants to dive into my world, no matter what I do, no matter what I explain, and I think nobody is going to watch this video until this time. Now it's no more than 21st minutes, 21 minutes, sorry, because my videos always take so long. But I just wanted to talk about the topic and about my favorite scene of Hothead Paisan, which is this one, which is about suicide. So yeah, sometimes I wonder what we actually live for. I mean, you just go to school, then you maybe go to university. I try this now, way too late, but I try it. And then you suddenly have to find a job, and then you just work all day long until you grow old. Then you get a retirement, and then you die, and that's it. Is that really everything? I don't think so. That's why I'm happy that I have left the Amazons behind me. If I die, my Amazons are still there for the world to enjoy, if they want to enjoy it actually, because my Amazons are very tough themselves, very violent, and yeah, also pornographic. Yeah, it's true. In a all-female way, by the way, you see, because they're Amazons after all. That's why I use the term Amazon sister, because sometimes in some of my Amazon metal songs, I also use the L word, but actually I do not like to use it that much because it's actually it's about Sappho, the Greek poetess from Lesbos, which was believed to be homosexual, but according to my research, it's not really likely that she was really homosexual. Maybe bisexual, but homosexual, according to what I have researched, unlikely. Um, but that's a different topic. I just want to show you my favorite scene in the entire Hothead Paisan comic series. And again, this issue really has them all. So closing this now. This big issue that finally came out in early September 2025. It's this big, it's the entire collection of all the comics, of all the 19 issues, plus a few bonuses. And but that one scene got me really the most, and that is why I drew that during the time when I wanted to commit suicide. Something that not even my parents did know. Actually, I didn't told anyone because I didn't want to tell anyone, because otherwise they call the police and stuff. But maybe I make another video about that, because there are some things that I want to talk about, because I think some stuff when it comes to this topic is just over the top, because I believe that when somebody wants to go, just let them go, but the police always comes and they even taser the people and then throw them into some insane asylums, just because they wanted to end their own lives. But aren't they their own masters of their own lives? Why does the government suddenly try to intervene? They have no right to do that. That's my opinion, by the way. So yeah, uh, just take this, because I just wanted to show you my favorite scene of the entire comic series. And yeah, I know that's a tough video and it's a tough topic. You can write me in the comments if you'd like what you think about all of this. If you actually have seen this video until this very end, which I'm sure you didn't, but maybe you do. But yeah, I know that I'm always just talking and that I'm just showing you the same stuff, and that I never show my face because I do not want to have my face all across the internet. So that is why I only appear like this. Um, so yeah, um, I think I will maybe be overwhelmed by everything, especially when I'm on the CSD in 4 weeks, because maybe it will be too much. It will be my first CSD. I do not know what to expect when I see all those people there all together and happy, and then I appear there totally alone with, and I do not know anyone, and I come up there and I have those depressions and suicidal thoughts and fantasies for a long time, Yeah, it's tough. And yeah. And so even Hothead Paisan, Homicidal Lesbian Terrorist, made me think a lot about that. And this is something that I didn't expect, but this again shows how great Diane Massa really is, how deep her thinking really turned out to be when she got off the alcohol for quite many years now. Because in the first issue, she started like this, totally different, just totally crazy, just total anarchy, and you can hardly explain it actually because it makes no sense somehow. Of course, if you read between the lines, it makes some sense, but yeah. It was too crazy in the beginning when she just started to get off the alcohol, and then and that is why she decided in the end in 1998 that she has to stop Hothead Paisan because it's getting too deep and it's not really Hothead Paisan anymore. What the people expect to read. So yeah. I think that's it for now, because the video is almost half an hour long again. So yeah, again, please feel free to tell me in the comics what you think about that topic, and maybe you want to tell me what your favorite scene in Hothead Paisan actually is, if you have one, and if you actually know this comic, because even today, even 30 years later, this comic is still quite underground, and many people actually do not know it, despite it being so good. And yeah, and even offering such a very, very topic, maybe the heaviest topic that a normal human being can come up with, which is the topic of suicide. So I say thank you now and see you next time. And I hope that this video was not too tough for you, but again, I just want to show you my favorite scene and tell you about myself a bit, and because we often make those videos and then we sound all happy and stuff, and but this is not really us. Often we just put on a different face, a mask if you want, and then make our videos where we sound quite energetic and all, but this doesn't have to be the truth. And I am so honest and open that I tell you the truth, and I do not care what people think about me, because you know I've had experiences with mobbing and bullying and everything in school, and also in jobs, and also on the streets, as I've said already. So I do not care anymore what people think about me, and if they maybe hate me for creating a video like this or creating my other videos, and I just continue until I maybe can't take it anymore. We'll see, because at first I hope that I get a positive response from the university. But if I do not get one, and if my life will continue to be this miserable, because getting to university is my last chance to make something out of my life, well, I do not know. Maybe I will go back to this situation, to this stance or something, and maybe then really do it, because in August, there will be nothing cold, there will be nothing frozen. We have a disastrous heat right now, but I can take it. But again, this is nothing for sure yet, because I still have university as my final hope. So yeah, thank you so much for watching this video, and I hope that soon I can come up with a better topic than this, because but I really just wanted to be honest with you about my most favorite scene in the entire Hothead Paisan Homicidal Lesbian Terrorist comic series, because I just had to, and I wanted to really tell you this. So thank you very much for now, and see you next time.